Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa. Today is November 24th. It's a Monday, and this is episode 165 or 166. I have to go through and see if I messed up something, but I think it's 165. Today, we're going to be discussing more of the Democrats' nonsense over our military, which, seditious. I'm looking at it, and I originally said it wasn't seditious, but it was close to being seditious. I'm going to say it's seditious. We're going to discuss Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation, what it really means. And the other topic that I'm going to discuss is Mondami and Trump's meeting and what didn't happen. And so we're going to go through that. I just needed to fix something here on my notes so it reminds me. All right. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, which I did get a bunch of new people joining, it's a conservative-based podcast that does use facts, and I will take those facts and point why a position taken by the Republicans is correct or why it's not correct. It's news with a view. I am a conservative. I am a federalist, meaning ruled by the Constitution. It's important. It's our law. It's more than important. It's our whole way of surviving as a republic. And again, we are a republic. We are not a democracy. I had someone ask me the other night, what's the difference between a democracy and a republic? And when I explained it to him, he was like, hey, I understand that. And we can't be a democracy in the pure sense of being a democracy, because that's mob rule. That's what we didn't want. So we have elected officials that represent us. We have a federal court system, a constitution that makes us a republic. All right. So, U.S. Democratic Senators Alyssa Slaughton of Michigan, Mark Kelly of Arizona. You know how I feel about Mark Kelly. Pile of feces. Along with U.S. Representative Chris Delonzo of Pennsylvania, Maggie Goodlander of New Hampshire, and Chrissy Holohan of Pennsylvania. Last week, these Democrats suggested through a video sent to the media via X that our military and intelligence services should not be following illegal orders from their commanders, putting forth the idea and notion to our citizens and world that our military was violating the Constitution and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Again, and I'm repeating on Friday's show where I was like crazed by this action taken by these six Democratic lawmakers who think that our military people don't know what a lawful order is or an unlawful order is. All these people were in the military. All these people understand and have gone through the training and process of understanding the command structure and orders, lawful orders of their superiors. For a pile of feces like Mark Kelly, who has over 25 years of service in our military, to come out and say what he did about, don't violate, don't follow any illegal orders, like they're receiving illegal orders and should not follow them. And the fact that Democrats have not spoken up to say, hey, all right, these 6 spoke. That's them. That's not me. Or they didn't. So they're sitting there spineless. The idea that a boots on the ground person wouldn't understand what a lawful order is or an unlawful order. Unbelievable that commanders would issue those orders and would just blindly follow. What an insult. And this is one of the ones that I keep saying, we're not going to let this go. I'm having bumper stickers. Believe me, I'm going through the process. I'm not going to let this go. They all have to be stopped. And when I say Democrats need to be stopped, I'm saying through the legal process of voting. They do their fighting in the streets. They do riots. They shoot our people. Let us do our fighting in the voting booth. That's where we do it. That's where we stand together in the voting booth. Not like these Democrats, spineless cowards that they are, insulting our military. Spineless. And then, of course, Mark Kelly, the heaping, steaming pile of feces that he is, comes out and says, I think it's important to say that there is nothing more American than standing up for the Constitution. That's what we are doing. The president didn't like it, so now he called for us to be hanged. He said on CNN's The Source with Caitlin Collins on Thursday night. He never called out for your hanging. He never did that. That's a lie, and that's misleading. That's not what the president said. You pile of crap. And I'm using the word crap. And it shows how disingenuous of these 6 lawmakers to not only slander our military, but hide under the shadow of the Constitution to support their false agenda. Our military and intelligence services know what an unlawful order is and how to respond and report such actions. They are trained from the time they are recruits to the time that they leave their military career on following lawful orders and how to deal with unlawful orders. People who have not served might not understand that they think that if a lieutenant or sergeant or whatever tells a private, go shoot that person, shoot that citizen, that, oh, I have to do it. That's a command. I'm ordered to. No, no, that won't happen. Because the soldiers know that that's not a lawful command. Now, if they say, hey, we're going into battle, this is the enemy, you are to engage the enemy by all means provided you. And follow the articles that we fight under. You take prisoners. You treat them humanely. Those are lawful orders. But what these lawmakers want you to do, if you're a military person, is to go, I don't think that's a lawful order. I'm not going to carry it out. And it puts these people in a very bad position. And it puts our troops and our military and our country in a very bad position. These 6 who claim that their prior military experiences, make us say this. They're attacking our command structure, is what they're doing. And now trying to have our service people refuse orders legally given to them by superior commanders, and to question those orders. Now, that's not treason in the sense of treason. But that is a form of sedition. And the act of sedition, of possibly turning our citizens against our military, yeah. These 6 need to be called out on the carpet. Their own party should do it, but they won't, because you're spineless. Democrats are spineless. Hide in the shadows. Lie. Misinform the public. Play games with the truth. And again, I'm going over a road I've gone down 100 times before. Biden is the best. Healthiest. I've never seen him sharper. He's on his game. And everyone's looking around going, are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing? No, that's you. You're lying. You're lying. And we just spoke to him. I asked him what his favorite ice cream was, and he knew it like that. So we know he has all his facilities and faculties there. He's perfect. Yeah. How many Democrats came out and said that? And I get the idea of being loyal to your party. I get it. The Republicans are just as loyal. We'll discuss that too. And the Democrats are just as loyal to their party. But they really did lie to the American people. They really did lie. And anything that comes out of these people that were around Biden and knew Biden and understood what was going on, they lied to us. And their justification, well, at the time, I didn't see anything. Shutting down his office at 10:30 in the morning or 11:30 in the morning. That's it. We're done. No more. That's closed. Him stumbling around. And I get it. He was 80 years old. I get that. He was doing a lot of stuff for an 80-year-old. I won't take that away from him. But for a second term, no. No, we knew what the plan was. Plan was there to instill Harris. There we go. All right. These 6 Democrats had no problem with having our military service persons who may face a military legal consequence for not following a lawful order. How can any sane person agree with the Democrats' method and logic of its comments? Now, questioning our military, I have no problem with that, through the proper channels for the politicians. You and I don't have to have that type of transparency that the politicians have. They run on a different type of transparency, but they have to be honest. It's imperative. Now, do we have secrets? Are there things we can't talk about? Are there things we could say, I don't know, when you really do know? Yes, there are. There are. And, any person of intelligence understands that and why it needs to be done. These 6 lawmakers have now come under fire from many of the Republican lawmakers who made a united statement condemning the comments made last week against our military command and members of our intelligence services. Now, getting back to where Mark Kelly, that steaming bag of feces, said that President Trump said he wants us all hung. Made a comment to that. And what President Trump really said on social media and reposted on X, Trump called the Democrats traitors engaged in seditious behavior. And he suggested it was punishable by death. Well, I don't know if seditious behavior can come up to death unless that seditious behavior resulted in the death of people. Then you could be held accountable for it, and I guess a death penalty could be handed out. Normally, for treason, the death penalty is really reserved for treason. Though, if you look at the assassinators of President Lincoln and their court case, you might get a different idea on how this works. And what Trump really did, he reposted a message from a user that read, "Hang them, George Washington would." That's what he put there. He didn't say it, he just reposted what someone else said. The Mark Kelly running and crying like a little girl, "They're going to kill us, they're going to kill us." And then we're calling the state capitol police, "I'm getting death." President Trump said, I should be hung. No, it said punishable by. You can only get punished if you have a trial. Right? Right? Unless you're at a rally in Pennsylvania or you're trying to play golf. Right? Lousy Democrats. Many politicians on the Hill stated that the president did not threaten these six directly by saying punishment for treason, punishment for seditious behavior could be death. Trump only forwarded a message from a post that again said, "Hang them, George Washington would." And how fast the Democrats forget the fight they made to have Trump charged with sedition under the 14th Amendment in 2024, and how they tried to keep him off the ballot on a charge of sedition that was never placed against him. And yet you had people talking, well, that could be the death penalty too. He could go to prison forever. And if it's found that it's treason, that there's a Russian collusion to it, then treason. And they went on a tyrant with that. A tangent on that. They just went out on that. These six lawmakers made a political statement to question President Trump's use of our military by attacking our military, by having citizens think the president is using our military against our own citizens. No. He's using the military to protect federal agents and federal property, which is his constitutional power to do. In Washington, the military, and in Tennessee, is reporting to the local authorities and helping them bring down crime. Because either those cities were unable or unwilling to do so. And he's allowed to do that. When the state can no longer protect the citizens, then it is the federal's obligations, right up to the president, to protect the citizens. It's right here in the Constitution, folks. Now, you can challenge that. And they have. And, you've had district judges say, no, you can't do that, knowing darn well that he can. Only just to try to stop him so it goes up to the robes. And the robes are getting mad. The robes are saying, hey, this is already vetted. This is already, you know what you need to do. And yet you're not doing it, so it comes to us and we have to overrule you. This is a political game by the Democrats. Call it what it is. I'm sure the Republicans would do it too, but they're not. This is being done by the Democrats. So you call it what it is. To say, well, they would do it. We're not keeping a scorecard here. This isn't who has the most points at the end. the Democrats know that they're going down. And like a drowning person, they're just grabbing everyone they can, going to take them down. They don't give a crap if they take America down. They could care less. All right. Quickly, we're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene resigns from Congress after clash with Trump. And that's an article byline from Politico. I would have used the byline of Marjorie Taylor Greene resigns after winning her fight with President Trump. Why'd she resign if, if she was standing up, like she said, standing up for American women who were raped at 14, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men, should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for, she said in a statement posted on X. Now, she won the argument. Trump reversed himself and said, if the House votes and it goes to the Senate and the Senate votes and it ends up on my desk, bing, I'll sign it the minute it gets there. And he did exactly that. And Bondi said after reading everything, she's going to have an investigation on some more of the people on it. So there's an ongoing investigation, which in essence, the Democrats and some Republicans have called for. You got what you wanted. You won the argument. Done. Why'd she quit? Well, her relationship with Trump became confrontational after she agreed with Democrats to release the Epstein files. Her questioning the president's focus on foreign affairs and called for action on the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Now, her argument was loyalty should be a two-way, loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representatives. Now, in that statement, she is absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Now my comment and commentary on this matter. Why would Marjorie Taylor Greene resign when she accomplished the release of the Epstein files, a major theme she has presented and fought for? She won. She should be able to go to her constituents and go, I won this. I stood up and I was counted. I put pressure on the president to release this. The president said no. We put it through the vote, put the pressure back on him, and he reversed his decision and has going to release and ordered the release of the Epstein files that can be released. Now, the public differences between Trump and Greene rose last week when the president dropped his endorsement of Greene in a pointed social media post in which he characterized her as wacky and a ranting lunatic. Now, I don't know if I would have used ranting lunatic, but I would say, although I would have used other words. I would have used other words. and I go on to say, this is me going on saying it, not anyone else. Loyalty is a two-way street, and not following the lead of your party positions in such public manners as she has done, I can understand the president's dissatisfaction with her. MTG, that's what I'm saying, has too many political inconsistencies, is what I see as her problem. And then not having Trump standing behind her now with MAGA monetary support is what I feel made her take this action of her resigning. Because someone speaks bad of you that you've helped, and you just go, that's it, I quit. Oh. Really, you should at this point in your career have a lot more tougher skin, seeing how the things that you have said in the past and went out on a limb on. And Grant, you went out on a limb for Donald Trump. I get it. I get it. But there were some things you could not do using a political conscience. Meaning, she had to look at her constituents and go, this is why I acted the way I did, and then justify what's going on. And she had too many inconsistencies. Her political numbers were down in her district, but which he had had the support of President Trump, and he'd come in there and personally campaign for her. Probably would not be an issue, but there are people that are loyal right now, as she was loyal to him, he's willing to support in her district. And I have a feeling she did not want to lose to that. But she could have turned around and just said, I'm going to finish up my time, and I'm not going to run for office again. And that would have made her maybe a little bit more of an independent. Or she could have then said, hey, I'm breaking away from being a Republican and I'm going to go independent. By her just leaving, that seat will get taken by someone else. I mean, and if she has an agenda, you can only have an agenda if you have an agenda, you got to be empowered to push that agenda along. So, very confused by what she did here. There's got to be another street going through that she's on. Something else must be going on in her life. She has a lot of things, I mean, and all right. Maybe she just feels that she can't be efficient enough and effective enough now. Don't know. But do you quit? Pick your marbles up? Leave? I don't know. I've had disagreements in my life where I go, I just can't continue following the course of action. I know we all want to get down to the goal line, but I don't think this is the best way that we get to the goal line. And instead of standing in your way and arguing with the leader, time to get out of the way. Because our goals were the same: to get to the end zone, score. We didn't have a different idea of what the end game was. We had a different idea of how to get there and achieve it, but our goals were the same. And if I was going to be in his way, they elected him. I held an elected position, but I had to get out of his way. And we do that. We do that. When I become more of a hindrance than a help, then am I a supporter of him? Or that other person, that leader? No, I'm not. And did I want to be a supporter of that person? Yes, I did. But I couldn't do it like that. So I resigned. All right. Real quick, talk about President Trump's meeting with Ma'am Domney, and how it was played as, a very friendly and cordial meeting, and both people seemed to like one another. And there was a point where one of the news people said, "Hey, did you call Donald Trump a fascist?" And Donnie, kind of like, and President Trump just told him, just say yes. Just say yes. Yes. There you go. Done. Answered. No more questions on that subject. He answered it. Done. So he actually threw him a political lifeline. He took a situation where everyone said, "This is going to be lemons. Look at this. They'll be, I'm the mayor, and we can do what we want." And in an instant, Trump turned lemons into lemonade. They both poured it. They both drank it. They said, "What good lemonade." And other than the Democrats having to say, "Well, it was a nice meeting," and there wasn't much of substance there, but it was very cordial, and they were very nice to one another and polite. And Trump sat there while he stood over and shook his hand, and Trump, being the powerful guy, he ruled the meeting. And now the progressives and liberal Democrats have to say to their elected mayor, "You had a nice time, but with the fascist." So, who got the most out of that meeting? Trump. Trump read the temperature of everything going on and said, instead of being confrontational, I'm going to be magnanimous. And it worked out well for both of them. Now, does the new elected mayor owe Trump any favors for Trump going, "No, it's settled"? Yeah, just say yes. You called me a fascist. That's okay. Yes. Okay, done. That's a question that can never be asked them because I've already answered that. Ask me something different. Is that going to make a difference? Might. Zoran might turn around and go, hey, let me ask Trump. Seems like a nice enough guy. Now, Trump's ultimate end play. Remember, we all have we want to see an end play here. Is that he knows that Mandani is going to fail in about 90% of the things that he said he was going to do. Because without federal aid, it's not going to happen. And how does that federal aid happen? Through Schumer. Not through AOC. Through Schumer. So, did Schumer support Mayor-elect Mandani? Did that happen? No. No, it did not. The tail thought it could wag the dog. Oh, what a political lesson this guy's going to have. What a political lesson this guy's going to have. All right. I was trying to keep this down to 25 minutes. We are now steaming towards the 45-minute mark. Please, if you made it this far, leave comments. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I really would appreciate it. I have people on Facebook that watch me. I have people on Rumble that watch me. But I really do like YouTube. And I really would like subscribers. And you don't have to agree with me. I'm kind of changing the format a little bit, and I'll put that on the front on the edited piece here that I do. This is a live piece going out right now. You don't see any of my chyrons up there, which is my little talking points that normally are right up over here. But I'll put some things up there on some of the changes that I'm planning to make after the new year. And that's to keep the show to 25 to 30 minutes. And this way I could do, 5 shows a week. I apologize. I have not been, the last month and a half, I put out maybe 15 shows. Man, have I been sick. And I didn't have the energy to go through all the formats. And I print up at least between 5 to 8 pages of notes, and I reference them back, and so I could at least be somewhat intelligent in my presentation. And I try to use facts. I always try to use facts. And though sometimes I get them wrong, and I get it. I get it wrong. And I get called out by Bob in New York, which I spoke to him the other day, and he has not been watching the show. Shame on you, Bob. Because he calls me just an echo chamber. Well, you can't use facts enough times, Bob. But I don't mind the critique. And mostly he makes intelligent critiques. And then he'll get very emotional, and then I'll get emotional, and then we start laughing at one another. But come join, leave comments. I do enjoy that. There's a couple of people that leave comments, and I do enjoy those comments. You don't have to agree with me. I don't agree with everyone. I don't agree with everything the Democrats do. Well, everything the Republicans do, and I don't disagree with everything that the Democrats do. So, that's the way it is. That's the way it should be. All right. Please give to a charity if you can. If you don't feel comfortable with that, I certainly can understand why. Give to a local food bank. Give food. They could really use monetary help, because then they can direct it immediately towards what they know their priorities are. But food is always welcomed. Clothing, if they take in clothing, good clothing and nice clothing and blankets and things, great. Please consider that. Say a prayer. Prayer works, regardless what a Democrat will tell you. And again, I've had people ask me, why do I say that? And I send them a private message back, and I tell them, refer them to what I'm talking about. And they go, well, that was just one person. And I go, was it a Democrat? Okay, thank you. So I'm factual. Please join me tomorrow. If there's anything breaking, I will definitely do another show. That's, might be quick, but it will be breaking. Tonight's Monday, so it is a Socrates stationed bar and grill night for me in Socrates, South Carolina. You can find me bellied up to the bar, usually eating something. If I have more than one drink in the 3 hours that I stay there, I do take an Uber back home and pick my car up the next day. I do not normally drink and drive if I feel I'm over the limit. And I make that determination by handing my car keys to my better half, as they're called. And she makes the determination. And whatever she says, as the word is spoken, the deed is done. Let it go out through the land. Because I trust her. And, if she sees that I have a drink and then I switch to Coca-Cola or Pepsi or whatever the flavor of the day is, and I'll have a couple of them, then that's it. I can drive, as long as, I'm not taking a big cup full of liquor, just having a mixed drink. So I do not drink and drive. I do not recommend people to do that. For the 15 or 20 bucks, it's a no-brainer. Really is. It's a no-brainer. And if you don't want to do that, then you shouldn't be drinking or spending any of the money on that. Buy beer and drink it at home. Buy a bottle, drink at home then. All right. With that, I'm going to say thank you as I fade to